What does the policy behind the free admission for tertiary students mean? And is there a problem it seeks to resolve?
Yeah. So, if you look at the implementation of the free SHS, we we indicated as a people that many people are not able to go to school at the SHS level because of cost. They cannot take care of the cost. So, assuming that we are able to um, provide support for 2,500 students, and all these students graduate from the SHS. And we know that the terminal point of our meaningful education is not at the SHS level, it's at the tertiary level. Either you go through College of Education, colleges of nursing, or you go through uh, technical university, or you come to the mainstream universities. So that is the terminal point of our education to be meaningful. So if we support students and they graduate, the question we should be asking ourselves, these students who cannot pay fees, that is why we supported them through the free SHS. What plans do we have for them to terminate? So luckily some of them have passed to come to the tertiary level. So those people, when they come to the tertiary level, they get admissions. Some of them do not even apply because they know they cannot afford. So those who even apply, in some other schools, they admit about 17,000. Only about 9,000 get enrolled, which means uh, about 8,000 of the students don't get enrolled. Yes, we may argue that some of those 8,000 will get admission elsewhere. Okay, then the same thing is replicated in all the public universities. If you go to Legon, they admit a number of students, but not all of them get enrolled. You go to Tech, the same thing. You go to UDS, etc., the same thing. So, which means there are people who are struggling to come in, but they cannot. In fact, what even happened during admission period in most universities, that they are giving you a time period to pay. If you don't pay, they revoke the admissions because they want people who can pay to come. So definitely there is a problem on hand, and that is what uh, the free academic fee or the free admission fee for the first year student at tertiary in our tertiary educational institutions seek to resolve. And uh, when you look at it critically, you realize that it's a real problem, and that is going to resolve for the country because we want more people to come to the terminal point of education, not only at the end of the free SHM, because the free SHM doesn't give our people the capacity to be employed in most of our institutions. They may get the chance to be employed in some, I mean, few numbers into some of the security institutions, and then some of them may get some menial jobs to do, but majority of them will have to terminate at the tertiary institutions to become meaningful. And then some of them who couldn't make it, some of them will later go and learn some new trade and the rest. But if we meant to support the student to terminate at a useful point, then we need to do something about what happened to them at the first year level at the tertiary institutions. And I believe That is the reason why this policy was carved out. So it's solving a real challenge for families. It's solving a real challenge for students.
Okay. So, what about the concern generated from other people about the challenges behind the fiscal space to achieve this policy?
So the question is the challenge as I articulated. Do we want to resolve those challenges, or we just want to know the challenge and allow it to fester? I believe we want to resolve them. So if we want to resolve them, then we need to prioritize the way we manage our finances so that we can see it off part of the management of our finances to the universities to cater for the cost involved in the free first year fees or the free first year academic fees for the tertiary institution. The understanding is that these fees is actually income to the universities, and therefore you can't just say that you have absorbed these fees and that is the end. You need to remit this to the universities. In actually, in actual fact, you need to look at the subvention to the university to make it very effective. So we need to manage our finances in such a manner that we prioritize resolving this problem for the young people of this country. If we believe that they will be the one who will take over, who will be employed in the civil servant, in the public servant, who will be employed later to lecture, who will be employed later to fix our roads and the rest, then we need to prioritize to resolve this challenge.
Okay. Do we have infrastructure in case the numbers increases?
Yeah, infrastructure issue is also a real issue. Now, infrastructure in two levels. Um, the main university activities of lecture and the rest. We need lecture halls and the rest. Then we also need accommodation facilities. In natural fact, in some other universities, their inability to even admit to certain number is because of accommodation. And the free academic fee or free admission fee is not only in isolation. It comes with another policy which try to deal with the admission. The policy is now going to ensure that the government uh, collaborate with the private sector to put up hostel facilities for the universities and the tertiary institutions. That is the way forward. In fact, in some of the universities, they have themselves engaged the private sector on PPP basis, but most at times they don't get the approval. If you look at the PPP law, uh, there are thresholds for approval, and these PPP arrangements definitely fall under Ministry of Finance approval. But the good news now is that since it's not a it's now going to be a government policy because a political party has promised it. So when that political party comes to power, it means that it will become a government policy. So the difficulty that the university go through to get approval for these arrangements for wholesale facility to be put up for students will not be there again. So that will be done with some level of efficiency, with some level of uh, um, uh, in mind, having in mind that we need the accommodation facilities as a matter of emergency. So I believe within a short period of time, these issues will also be resolved. Then uh, we need more lecture halls, but in addition to that, If you take inventory of university facilities, you see Tech having facility in Accra, having facility in Takoradi, having facility elsewhere. You see UCC having facility in Accra, facility in Nyakro, facility in other places. The same thing applies to University of Ghana, and the same thing may apply to UDS. The same thing will apply to University of Mines at Takwa, etc. So some of these facilities could be turned to campuses. If you go to London, if you go to some other universities, they have campuses in other parts of the UK, and that will help to resolve the problem of infrastructure issues that are being raised. So it's just a matter of ensuring we take inventory of the facilities we have, how to maximize the use of these facilities. In some of the facilities, when some of the facilities are lying idle from Monday to Friday, they are only used on weekends, and some of those facilities can take about 1,000 students if they are converted to a campus. So I believe even though infrastructure issues have been raised, but I'm not sure they are such a problem that cannot be resolved just by taking a decision. So if we take the decision, we can resolve this infrastructure problem in phases and then allow more people to come into the universities.
So, looking at those people who benefit from this policy, can you tell us how they will be able to survive after their first year in the tertiary institution?
Yes, um, it is better than they not coming in, because it's like you are trying to develop a child, and the child need to go through training to a certain level, but you have truncated the training for the child. That will not make the child meaningful. So if you want the child to be meaningful, he has to come through the tertiary institutions. Okay, he has to come to tertiary institutions. So we can carve out the strategy to deal with these issues. So, having said that, as introduction to your question, when they come, then they are open to myriad of opportunities. Now, some of the universities have their own limited number of scholarships. Some of the scholarship come from Get Fund. Some come from Government of Ghana scholarship. Some come from um, um, Atobo Gas. Some come from GMPC, etc. And some NGOs manage some scholarship for the student. Now, the idea is that if they don't come, they are not open to apply for these scholarships. So you need to bring them in, help them to settle first year, then they have opportunity to begin to apply to some of these scholarship opportunities that we have. Then there is the policy of enhancing the the student loan scheme to cater for the need of the student. And what I read indicate that the student loan scheme will now be enhanced to cover the fee that you pay, not like the 900 cedis that students take anymore, but it will be done in such a way to cover the fee that you pay. And I believe what I understand, again, it means that the student loan is structured in such a way that it will be paid directly to the universities for the fees of the students. So they're actually doing the purpose for which the loan have been structured. So I think there are enough avenue for those students who are given the cushion for the first year to now transition to the various platforms that have been created or that is available for them to explore to cater for their second year, third year, and then the fourth year.
So, Professor John Gachi, so in your view, is it a policy that you believe that NDC can take place?
Yeah, it's a policy. See, policies are supposed to strengthen, resolve problems that have been identified. So we have all agreed that this is a real problem that have been identified and is a solution to resolving that problem. Then beyond that, we are giving opportunity to many Ghanaians to terminate at the rightful point so that they can become meaningful and participate in the economy of Ghana. So we all agree that this is a good policy. What people are afraid of, do we have the money to deal with it? And the answer is, since it is a problem that we need to resolve, we need to prioritize our finances.